Hey there, welcome back to Hammer's Garage. Hey, if you like watching knuckleheads like myself work on old project vehicles and hot rods and such, go ahead and click that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you get all the content that we put out. Today, we're going to put a Wilwood disc brake kit on old Winston here. Stickers. I love it when they send stickers. So this is what we're working with today. From Wilwood, this is the complete front disc brake kit for 63 to 87 C10. So we have the calipers, the pads, the rotors, the hat, the bearings, the hubs, the everything. The only thing you need to get separate is the brake lines. And so we went with these stainless steel brake lines. One thing to note, though, is that this kit is designed specifically to be used with their spindle, which is this spindle here, for 71 to 87 C10. It's a 2.5 inch drop spindle. This is the spindle that we went with from Wilwood, the 2.5 inch drop spindle. It is designed to be used with the factory ball joints, but it's made specifically for their disc brake kit. Okay, so here's the caliper mounting bracket, and this is what we have to get on first. There's going to be some fitment involved here. So this is an initial mount, dry, without Loctite, and they also want 2 shims on each side between the bracket and the spindle. So we'll put those on there, and then that mounts here. 15/16, and we just want to get them snug. Alright, now we got to install the studs into the hub. Now you'll want to verify the bolt pattern, to your wheel. This one will do 5 on 4 3/4 or 5 on 5. Mine's 5 on 5. I marked each one. Now each one of these gets torqued down to 77 foot-pounds. So what I'm going to do to get them torqued is lay them into the wheel upside down here. That way I can get my torque wrench on it and hit each one. The wheel will hold it in place for me. Now we need to get the bearings in, so I want to wipe this out first just to make sure it's good and clean. And then we need to pack our bearing. Got some high temp grease here, so I like to do it. I mean, you can use a bearing packer and all that stuff, but I don't know. I like this method. Now we put our grease seal on here. Now we'll get the outer bearing. And for good measure, I'm going to throw some grease on the inside here. Alright. I want to make sure this spindle's good and clean here. Then we put our hub on. And all the way back. There we go. Now we put our washer, castle nut. Now Wilwood says to tighten this, set it to factory specs, but I like my specs better, which is tighten it down till it's tough to move, which is right about there, and then back it off a little. Yeah, that's all right. That's good. All right, now we're gonna pack our dust cap. Now we'll put this on here with this socket. So you really shouldn't bang on the center of these things. I try to find a socket that fits that to tap them on with, and of course the socket took a little bit of the finish off, but that's okay. Now we get the rotors on, and if you'll notice, these rotors are directional. There's a little arrow tells you which way, and it's this way because that's the way you're hauling tail. So we'll fit the rotor on here. Boom. Hold it on with a couple of lug nuts. Now's a good time to check and make sure you don't have any interference. Seems good. All right, they want a little oil on these caliper mounting bracket studs, and then 2 shims on each stud. So this is the 6-piston caliper that came with the kit, and if you'll notice, those pistons in there are different sizes. What Wilwood says is orient this caliper on here so that the largest of the pistons, this one up top here, is at the exit, which in our case would be at the top. Pretty cool thing about these calipers is because they're not really sure how you're going to orient them. There's bleeders at both ends, and there's an internal bleeder and an external bleeder. We will slide this on like so. And then these washers. And then these lock nuts. I'd say temporarily tighten these up. The shims that we put on the mounting bolts on the caliper mounting bracket will move this caliper in and out. Now that we have this on here, we want to make sure the rotor is in the center of this hole. I've already measured it, and it is. So now we will take this off and get our pads in. These are the pads that Wilwood sent with the kit. They tell you to make sure to put the pad surface against the rotor. I would hope that people would know that, but anyway, they fit really nice. So the next thing is they want this flush with the rotor, and I actually have a little bit of a lip, so I think that means we can take a shim out of this. Well, I can't get my mitts on it. I need fingernails or something. There we go. All right, so we'll slide this off. We'll take slide the shims off. One of the shims stuck to the caliper. You got to watch that. Slide our pads back in. Now I've got a recess. So apparently 1 shim is what we need. So 1 shim, 1 shim. Perfect. Okay, we got our calipers in now, so we'll put in this retainer and this nut, which is a 7/16, 3/16 hex. And we just want to tighten this up snug where there's no movement. Wilwood says be careful not to over tighten that. All right, these get torqued down to 30 foot-pounds. Now that all of our adjustments are made, we can back out these bolts on the caliper mounting bracket. We'll add our red thread locker. And then these get torqued to 77 foot-pounds. Okay, right here, see this in the middle on the back side? That's where our fitting goes. Our Wilwood stainless steel brake lines came with these fittings right here, and they said put a little thread tape on it, and then we'll put it in here and get it snug up and get ready to run brake lines. There we go. I think that's as far as I want to go with it. So now we'll attach this stainless steel brake line, and then on the other end we have this fitting here. This end will go in the factory brake line position here, and then I'll go to the other side of the frame rail and secure it with this clip. So the last thing we have here is we will turn the wheel full lock both directions, make sure we're not pinching or pulling on our brake line, and then figure out how and where we clamp it up. After talking with the tech folks at Wilwood, they said I was absolutely perfectly fine to use my factory booster as long as it was in good shape. And it is, except for being nasty, so we're going to fix it up here. Thank you, James. Do you mind kicking that on for me? I got to vacuum this crud out of here. Here we go. Look, an acorn. Thing must have been hiding out in the forest. Now I'm going to hit the face of this with a little 400. Ah! Ow! Obviously I have some kind of cut. Not cool. That is not cool. Look, brand new brake booster. Yay! Here's the master cylinder that we're going to put on here. I guess you can see that, but I'll put everything in the description below. Now there's a lot more detail to putting on this master cylinder, checking the fitment, worrying about the plumbing, getting it bled. But for now, because we have lines and a whole bunch of other stuff to do, we're just going to hang it here. And we'll tape off the ports to keep out any dirt and debris. So one of the final steps to this install is Wilwood suggests putting the wheel on and tightening down the lug nuts, making sure there's no interference. So that seems like the perfect excuse to reveal our wheel choice. And here they are. This is a nice 5, I guess you could call it 10 spoke mag from US Mags. 8.5 by 20s for the front with 255 45s, and then 20 by 10s in the rear with a 275 50. Let's get them on and see what they look like. Alright, I'm just snugging these up right now with the baby impact because we're not taking it anywhere. We just want to make sure that it has a good, nice fit, no interference, and that looks awesome. BAM! Wilwood front disc brakes. Look awesome. Can't wait to try it on the street. Anyway, we got a lot more going on with this truck. We got the rear disc brake kit, we got the plumbing to do, we got rear suspension. So make sure you like and subscribe, share, so that you can keep up to date with the project here as we move forward. Looks just awesome. What do you think we should do now, James? Well, giddy up.